You started this. We're gonna finish it. Come on in.
These are good people. I've known Mr. Lucini for some time now.
Have you ever seen him exhibit extremist behaviors or attitudes?
What?
The man's Muslim, so you enter his house without a warrant. Islamophobia.
Come with me.
He's running a terrorist nerve center or recruitment website. Or am I just an Islamophobe?
He won't talk to me anymore. He knows what I saw in that room.
And what does that tell you? He is the one that said, go to Cairo, talk about the faith. You're not suspicious? I'm asking you, don't go.
I will call you.
It's gone viral in the Middle East.
That you're preaching to Muslims.
Well, I was invited.
Not by me, mate.
Who's there?
Dog! Can you hear me?
He's caused an international incident.
He was kidnapped. This is terrorism.
You are in the middle of nowhere, and it's gonna stay that way. We agree.
You gotta get him out. They're working on it, right? The government.
Not a chance. The days of Entebbe are long over.
As far as the world's concerned, you're dead and buried.
I can't give up on it.
Is here your husband?
You're CIA. The two of you set him up.
You act as if nothing happened in Virginia. Try to get me arrested.
I came here to plead for his life.
It is clear you are an American spy.
I didn't come here to watch you die.
We're not afraid to die. That's why we're gonna win.
I'm not afraid either.
Hey guys.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi, that was awesome, Manny. That is the first time we've done this on our show with a video and intro, and we did this special for Debbie D'Souza. Debbie, how are you doing today?
I am good. I just got a text from my mom. She goes, "How can I watch you tonight?" Oh.
Did I not send you the link to the YouTube? Let me send that to you, text it to you, so she can watch it on YouTube.
Yes, if you do that.
Let me do that for you right now. I'm so sorry. I thought I had sent it to you. Let me do that. Introduce yourselves, Myra, Brandon, Brandy, while I do this for her.
Hi, I'm Myra Gutierrez. I'm with Latinos to Trump.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Brandon Moneda from Kingsville, Texas, former Republican County Chairman.
Manny?
Hi, I'm Manny. I am the better half of Roman and RioPolitics, just doing behind-the-scenes stuff, putting this together for you. We hope you are watching the whole time. Send us your questions or comments if you have, and I'll put them on there as soon as I am able to.
Yeah, well, now we're just waiting to, don't cover up Brandon, but you can put the logo now. The RP logo, just don't cover up Brandon. He did his hair just for us. Well, today we have Debbie D'Souza. She is the executive producer, along with her husband, Dinesh D'Souza, of Infidel, which is the trailer you just watched. And we will make, we'll try to post a link to the trailer so you can watch it again and again and again, and make sure you go watch it. This particular movie is going to be awesome. And you're also the executive producer for Trump Card, which we'll discuss tonight. That comes out video on demand on the 9th. And we're going to talk about Debbie and how awesome she is because she is from the Harlingen, Texas area of the Rio Grande Valley. And Debbie, tell us about yourself so we know about who you are.
Who I am? Well, so my name is Debbie D'Souza, as you just said, and I am Dinesh D'Souza's wife. I know a lot of people know who he is because of all his great movies. I'm now helping him with these great movies, and it's an amazing thing. I think what we do is we try to educate Americans on who to vote for, really, on the values of America and the party that holds those values together. And we're very passionate. I was born in Venezuela, and I came to Harlingen with my mother. My mother is a Valleyite. She was born in Donna, and she went to Venezuela to teach, and that's where she met my dad. So unfortunately, their marriage did not work out, and I was 10 years old when we moved to the Valley. So I grew up in the Valley. I was in fourth grade on. I went to Dishman Elementary. And I was telling these guys earlier, I went to Gay Junior High, and it was Gay Junior High. Now I think it's called Memorial, or maybe it's not even Memorial anymore, but it was Gay Junior High, then Vernon, and then Harlingen High School. It was the only high school in the Valley at the time. So that was my life in the Valley, and it was a pretty amazing life. I did a lot of things. I was involved in a lot of different organizations. I was a cheerleader. So that's me. And now I get to do this fun stuff. I get to make movies and be a patriot.
Yes.
Do you speak Spanish, by the way?
¿Qué pasó?
Do you speak? Okay.
Orlando is our Second Amendment activist. He joins us on Sunday nights when we have our crew, and every once in a while when we have guests. He is a dance instructor, so he's in McAllen, and also is a gun, shows you how to shoot your guns and stuff.
He's a concealed license instructor.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Manny, can you have that picture of Miss D'Souza?
Yep.
You forgot to mention you were also homecoming queen.
Oh yeah, there's that. And I have to tell you that when I was homecoming queen, I had a lot of seniors very upset because I was a sophomore, and no sophomore had won homecoming queen, and so they were outraged.
I can imagine. So there wasn't a senior that made. Oh, how did you do that?
Well, because and I was so basically homecoming queen in Harlingen High School was you voted not through the student body, but rather it was judges. So it was kind of like a pageant. So they really didn't know what grade you were in. You went in and you talked to the judges. They asked you all these questions. And so I actually did not want to go to the homecoming dance because I was like, what's the point? I didn't even have a date. So I was like, what's the point in going? So I was urged by some of the student council members to go because they knew that I had won, but they couldn't tell me. But they were trying all kinds of ways to get me to go, and I finally did get a date. It was a friend of a friend, and so I went to the dance, and it was a shock. Really, I thought I clearly didn't hear my name. They were wrong, but it was funny and fun to do that at in 10th grade, and so I got to crown the next queen and the next queen because I happened to be there. They didn't have to call her from college. So it was fun. And then of course, it was such an honor to also be Queen Cardinal my senior year. So so that is the student body gets to elect the royal court. And this is in February. It's called Mardi Gras. And they have a court of sophomores, juniors, seniors, and then there's king and queen court, and then there's the king and queen. And I got queen cardinal. So that was an honor too.
Your senior year, you were a senior, was not homecoming queen, but got to crown so there were essentially two homecoming queens, you could say, that year?
There was two homecoming queens in my class, yes. I did not run again for homecoming queen. I didn't want to because I thought it was a little bit, the first thing I thought was, you know what, if I run and I don't win, then that means I won as a sophomore, not as a senior, and that's really bad. I know that sounds very, very bad. But
as a girl, I can understand. It's kind of hard.
So I was like, but I think it's better to give someone else, a chance to do it. And so the class of '84 had 2 homecoming queens. So me and then Laura Shaneman, who won our senior year. Yeah. But yes, I got to crown her.
I wish a lot of politicians realize that you don't have to run again and risk losing. And so that's the lesson that we learned from you.
Sometimes, you got to go out without, well, you know what I mean.
So did you ever do theater or anything like that in high school or even beyond high school? Theater, movies, films? You're doing Infidel.
No, but I was a singer. I sang a lot. Like I said, I sang with a jazz band. I sang at weddings. I did a lot of weddings in the Valley. And then I sang radio jingles, a couple of them in the Valley. So singing was my thing. And I also did ballet, but I never did any acting. I just, for some reason, acting just never really interested me, but the arts did for sure. So this was a very great, transition, I think, in my life, my second half. But I was a teacher. I taught kindergarten. I taught second grade. I taught middle school Spanish and high school Spanish. So I did all of that. I'm well-rounded, as you might say. But yeah, I've done a lot of things in my life.
So what about Infidel? What do you want to tell us how Infidel came about?
Oh yes. So Dinesh and I have wanted to do feature films for a long time. I know he's wanted to do them for a long time. And, documentaries are a little bit different in just the economics and the way they're done. With a documentary, we don't have to have a script. We sew it together, but it's not really like a script. Mm-hmm. With a feature film, you obviously have to have a script. You have to have a story. So on one of the trips to India, as you know, Dinesh is from India. We've gone several times since we've been married. One of those trips actually was, I want to say it was 3 years ago. We were on the plane and we were, talking about, it'd be really cool if we had a movie talk about radical Islam, and what's happening in the world with radical Islam. So we started jotting down some things, some ideas, and we came up with this movie, right? With this movie idea. But since we're not script writers, Dinesh is not a script writer, I'm not a script writer, we thought we need to actually hire a script writer to write the actual script of the movie with our idea. So we built the bones, for it. So I had seen a movie called The Stoning of Soraya M. And Cyrus Naraste was the director and writer of that movie. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but basically it was about a woman that was stoned to death in Iran. And it was very, very graphic, gory, but it was an incredible movie. So I mentioned it to Dinesh. I said, there's this guy, his name is Cyrus Naraste, and he did this movie. And he goes, Cyrus? I know Cyrus. So it was kind of a God thing, really. I mean, because it just all came together. And then the other really funny thing is that I go, but the lead, because we came up with the hero of the movie, right? The leading man. And I go, it'd be really cool if Jim Caviezel played the lead role. And I had mentioned it to Cyrus after we hired him. And Cyrus was like, no, he's probably too expensive. He's probably, I don't think he'd do it, whatever, So I kind of, my hope had been that he would be the lead, but I kind of thought, well, it's not going to happen. So when Cyrus, because Cyrus knew him, he mentioned the movie to him, and he said, maybe he could play a cameo role, right? So when Jim Caviezel, read the script, he goes, Cyrus, I have to play the lead. Oh, so that also I thought was, my goodness, this is a definite sign from God, because the fact that I just envisioned him doing this lead role and then he does it. I mean, it's just so cool. It's the coolest thing ever. So it's taken. They filmed it 2 years ago in Jordan. And they recreated everything. Obviously they couldn't film it in Iran, but they recreated like they did, So so anyways, the movie is a story about a Christian blogger who is, he writes his Christian blogs. He's unapologetic. But he decides that to go to the Middle East. He gets invited to go to the Middle East to talk about his faith. And he has a friend that betrays him. And so I don't want to give too much away for the movie, but basically he goes to Iran and he is held captive in Iran. And as you know, it's straight off the headlines. I mean, a gentleman was just executed in Iran. So it's a very, very dangerous place to be. So I think it's exciting. I think it's a great movie. And go to infidel911.com. It's infidel911.com, and you can type in the name of your town, and it'll give you the theaters that are showing it, and you can buy tickets from the website. So
we'll post that up in just a little bit.
Yeah. Myra?
Okay, so that movie obviously has like something that we thought didn't happen in the United States as political persecution. And we all know that your husband has been a victim of political persecution. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how he was pardoned, or he was, by the president?
Right. So Dinesh gave $20,000 over the limit. The really strange thing about campaign finance laws is that you can give a candidate a ton of money. Like you can give them $100,000 if you want to, but you have to do it through a PAC. You cannot do it to their campaign individually, right? Well, Dinesh did not know this. So he, when he found out, he was like, well, you know what? If I give her money, I can have a couple of other people give her money and I'll just reimburse them. That was basically it in a nutshell. And because of who Dinesh is, let's just say someone in the White House didn't take too kindly to the movie he made about him, if you know what I mean. We don't really know how it happened. We don't know if he was bugged, his apartment was bugged. We have no idea. But we do know that the FBI spent about $100,000 investigating him. They went through his bank statements. They read his books. They did all kinds of things. And in one of the reports, it basically called him a right-wing extremist, my husband. And so the FBI did this. Mm-hmm. So we know he was targeted because of that. So it turns out that they try to get him on other things that were ridiculous, like mail fraud and bank fraud because he wrote a check, mail fraud because he put the money in the mail. I mean, really dumb things like that, right? But they try to do that to get you to plead guilty. I mean, because that's right. Essentially what they want you to do. So he pled guilty, but first of all, his lawyer, who was a liberal, believe it or not, he was I think he was Puff Daddy's lawyer in New York. I mean, this guy was a defense attorney that was like high, very, very well known. So he goes, Dinesh, this is so dumb. They're not going to do anything to you. Really, I'm just going to go get, the judge to just give you a fine or whatever. Well, as it turns out, I think everybody knows that's not what happened. The judge literally threw the book at Dinesh. And he threw the book, and he did not want to hear about any other person that did the same thing that Dinesh did. And in other words, so when people do these type of things, like if they if they know they're going over the finance limit, basically what happens is that they're promised a position, right? They're promised to be in the cabinet or something, right? Some kind of bribe. Well, Dinesh didn't fit any of that criteria. So literally, he was the only person in the United States that has ever been prosecuted for doing this without any malice.
Wow.
And so he got 8 months overnight confinement in a kind of a halfway house is what it was. 5-year probation. I think it was a $30,000 fine on top of that. He had to do community service for 5 years. So,
oh my goodness.
you know, the judge really, basically for 5 years, his life was just going to be like, he wouldn't be able to do anything. And not to mention the fact that he was a felon. And the Democrats love to call him a felon, still to this day. But so that's what happened. And Dinesh and I were dating at that time when he was at the halfway house. So when I would go visit him in San Diego, literally I called him Cinderella Man. Because he had to go in at 8 p.m. So we would go to dinner and then he would leave.
What a curfew.
And so this was our courtship for 8 months.
Wow.
So, but anyway, so, you know, he learned a lot. And I think one of the things that we learned the most, I think, is that the Democrats play dirty.
Yeah. And
they are very corrupt. But if any conservative does anything, there is hell to pay. And he paid it.
And it brings me to, you know, we have your husband, we have Dinesh, we have General Flynn, we have Roger Stone, and we have even citizens that are serving time in New York for political persecution because they do something that the liberals don't like or the Democrats, so they tend to prosecute them and make examples of them or silence them unless they lie under oath.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So so anyway, but thank God that he was pardoned. May of 2018, he was pardoned by Donald J. Trump. But I have to tell you, I have to give credit where credit is due. We were having dinner with Ted Cruz and Heidi, and I'll just a little bit of background. I've known Ted for many years, and his dad actually married Dinesh and I.
Oh, wow.
Ted Cruz.
Raphael.
So Raphael Cruz, yes, he married us. So anyway, we were having dinner, and Ted just happened to ask. He's like, "Hey guys, is there anything I can do for you?" And I go, "Well, as a matter of fact, yes, you can. Could you please ask the president to give Dinesh a pardon?" So, you know, Dinesh was like, you know, Debbie, I mean, you know, because you guys know how it went down. You know, they were very kind of at each other's throats and all that. Yeah.
And I was a big supporter.
But I think that Ted, you know, realized, you know, he won and I have to help him. So they became close. And so literally a month from the day that we asked him was when the pardon happened. And you know, he had told us, listen, I asked the president and he said yes. He goes, but he's like, don't get your hopes up because it has to go through all this legal process, right? The president can request the pardon, but then it has to go through, I guess, the DOJ and all those things. So it all happened in 30 days, and Dinesh got a call from the president, and he basically told him he was pardoning him. So that was amazing, and we actually did a recreation in Trump Card about that phone call.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And we will be watching the trailer together in a few minutes, probably after the rapid fire questions. Brandon.
Yes. Debbie, I wanted to get your thoughts on a topic that the president has been mentioning this of late, indoctrination in the universities and the colleges and the public education system. How can we as conservatives combat that? And what can our elected officials like Governor Abbott or congressmen or senators, what can they do to address that?
Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to cut off funding to universities if they continue to do this. Because if they don't get federal money, they're going to think twice before they hire professors that do this in their classrooms, right? So that's number one. Number two, if your son or daughter has a professor that is really, I would say in colloquial, talking smack about Republicans or the president or whatever. In fact, as I told you, I think I told you guys, my daughter goes to Texas A&M. Texas A&M used to be a very conservative university, but no longer. They hire these crazy liberal professors. One of them, his name is Felipe Castro. I think he's from Portugal or from Brazil. He's Portuguese. He hates Trump, but he also hates Republicans. He also hates Christians. And he has demonized them on his Facebook page. That's his personal business, but he also does it in the classroom. That's my business. Those are my dollars going into that school. So that has to stop. So as a parent, now obviously my daughter does not have him, thankfully, but if she did have him, I would be the first person to go to campus and let them have it, because parents have to be proactive in that sense too. Once the college, obviously you're sending your child to the school, you're paying tuition, you have every right to demand that these professors teach in a neutral fashion. We're not even talking about teaching conservatism. We're talking about teaching history the way history was actually done, not changing it, not giving us their opinion. So those are things that really, I think, could be a start. The other thing, of course, is we could start universities that are not that way, right? But of course, all these institutions are very old, and it's very difficult to actually start a new university. So I think that's the way to combat it. Take away their funding and complain.
Yeah.
Well, in case you don't know, I think I told you. I teach for Wayland Baptist University in Harlingen at the TSTC University. I teach history. And that's one of the things that I try to do as a conservative adjunct faculty member, is to give all sides, not just be focused on people. I let them know I am a conservative, but I'm not going to give you a conservative bent. I'm going to just give you the facts and you decide what you want to do. And that actually is what's happening in higher education. I firmly believe, and I agree with you, that our professors at other institutions of higher learning are liberals. And I say this because I applied to one of these universities immediately as undergrad, gave them a paper, said, hey, no, you shouldn't, they didn't want me at all. And I turned in a writing sample that said Hispanics should be conservatives. And they didn't like that, I don't think.
Of course.
I applied at the master's degree, completely different writing sample, same university, loved me, wanted me. And then they found out I was a conservative. They were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we invited a conservative. And so it is a big issue. And so I'm glad that you all are fighting it. And it's important that we not do that. Myra had a question for you. I just wanted to make that quick statement. Myra, next.
Hi, I mean, you being from Venezuela and seeing the way our country's especially during the Democratic candidates, that we have so many candidates. I think what was it, 10, 12, and they all were pushing for the socialist communism agenda. And you've seen the prosperous Venezuela, how how much money and how much it had to offer, and to see it the way it is now. A lot of people say, look at history, communism, but we don't have to go as far as history. We're seeing it right now with Venezuela and other countries. What would you say to our youth that are wanting this type of economical system, which is socialist, communist, in our country?
Right. So the first thing I have to tell the youth is nothing, and I mean nothing, is free. So whenever you hear free healthcare, free education, free this, free that, no, there is nothing free in America or anywhere else. And so basically when you promise people that you're going to give them this for their vote, right? You are essentially telling them a lie. And that is what happened in Venezuela under Hugo Chavez. When he ran for president in 1999, he lied to the Venezuelan people. He did not run as a Marxist. Nobody had any idea that Venezuela was going to collapse. He basically ran. In fact, I always joke about his mantra because it was hope and change. And who else has said that, right? In their campaign slogan. So basically, Hugo Chavez wanted to say that he was not going to be, a regular politician, that he was going to clean up the corruption, and that if in 5 years he did not clean up the corruption and Venezuela was not prosperous, like amazingly prosperous, he would step down. What a lie. We know he didn't do that. So what he started doing is he started expropriating businesses, taking them. I mean, like literally just stealing them. He started nationalizing the industry that wasn't nationalized. There was a couple of industries that were nationalized, but not everything was. He decided that needed to go. So he essentially drove people out of Venezuela. Over 5 million Venezuelans have left because he robbed Peter to pay Paul, right? And all the Peters left. So what's left in Venezuela? Nothing. People cannot find food. They live on like $2 or $3 a month. I mean, literally, some people are so hungry that they go through trash cans, and that's how they get their meals. It's horrific. I still have family in Venezuela. I have an elderly aunt that we're helping, and thank God that we can help her, because I don't know what else we could do. If we couldn't help her, I think she would probably be dead by now, because as I said, it's bad. The situation is horrific. And yes, that started that way, promising free this, free that, free healthcare, free education. Well, we all know how that ended.
One last question. Did you see the things that are happening right now start in Venezuela, like the rioters, the anarchy going on in Portland and DC and all these other cities happen in Venezuela's big cities before it all started?
Okay, so I want to make something very clear, because there are photos and videos of kids throwing Molotov cocktails at the police and all of that, but that is not the same thing. So basically, those kids that were doing that in Venezuela were fighting against the regime. Because Hugo Chavez basically nationalized the military. He basically took over the military. He took over the police. So he defunded the normal police and put in his own people. Okay. And then he did what basically essentially is like Antifa. He got a group of thugs. Okay. He armed them. These were criminals that were supposed to be in jail. He armed them so that they could wreak havoc on citizens. So that is what, basically anarchy is what happened in Venezuela. Citizens were taken. They had the right to bear arms before Hugo Chavez took that right away. In 2010, there was a campaign that was called Desarma la Violencia, which means disarm the violence. And basically, it was asking citizens to voluntarily give back their weapons, right? Well, some Venezuelans were like a little bit, leery about it. They were like, really? Why? Well, what they did was Venezuela became very, very dangerous. It was one of the most dangerous places on the planet, Caracas, the city. And there was a lot of gun violence, kind of like the inner city Chicago. I mean, people were, killing themselves, all, gangs, all of that, right? So this particular enforcement was to combat crime, gun violence, basically. But what people didn't realize was that they were doing this as a propaganda campaign to disarm the citizens that were not criminals, because the criminals all kept their guns. But the citizens that needed their guns to defend themselves against criminals and against the government had no guns. And so that was the beginning of the end for the Venezuelans in that aspect. So yeah, I mean, go to Venezuela at your own risk. I personally would not go back until there's peace and until Maduro and his regime is out completely. And I have some ideas on how to do that, but they're not that popular.
Yeah. Brandon?
Yes, I guess over the years, as the mainstream media has become more and more liberal, we've seen the rise of alternative media sources like Brett Barr, The Blaze, one time even Fox, and I guess now One American News and others. The entertainment industry is very liberal. Do you think Infidel could be the beginning of the rise of alternative entertainment, conservative entertainment?
That is our prayer. Okay, that is why we did Infidel, because it's a movie Hollywood would not make. And to be honest, we thought that there was going to be a little bit of backlash because of our names. We actually were not going to put our names in the movie. But, the director, our marketing director, they said, you know what, we need to do this because we need to let people know that conservative filmmakers are on the rise, and we're going to keep doing it so that we can have because a lot of people are like, oh, we're done with Hollywood. We don't want to go see the movies because we know what they're going to give us, right? Every time you go to a movie, who's the villain? It's a Republican, right? Usually, right?
I'm always the bad guy in the movies.
Always a bad guy. They always make it a political point to do something like that, right? In every movie. And so we are tired of it. We just don't like it. We don't want that anymore. So
if half the people out there are conservatives, I mean, that watch movies.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is, if
the market is there.
Exactly. The market is there. If we can do that and we can have support, because see, we want to send a really big message to Hollywood. Unfortunately, this whole COVID thing, is happening. And so the theaters, I don't know if they're going to be 50% capacity. I really don't know what the logistics are going to be. I also don't know if people are going to be comfortable going to the theater, right now. But so this is all kind of, unfortunately, this happened, right? And so now there are people that say, Debbie, you don't understand. I have been dying to go to the theater for 6 months. I've been wanting to go. So this is my chance to go. So to those people, I say, yes, go for it. Go see this movie. Because we do want to send Hollywood a big message that, you know what, conservatives can make movies and we can make good movies.
All right.
Did you have any kind of pushback or resistance, or you better not do something like this?
No, we really didn't, and we thought that we were going to get, the media, the mainstream media, to say, "Oh, this movie is so Islamophobic." But to be honest, it really is not Islamophobic. It is not, it literally tells it like it is, and there are some Muslims in the movie that are heroes. So we do not, it's not like, oh yeah, the Christian is the good guy and the Muslim is the bad guy. That really, if you watch the movie, you'll come away knowing that you know what, they didn't go there. We told it like it is. There's a problem in Iran, but there's also a underground Christian movement in Iran that is huge, and I bet a lot of people didn't even know that. Well, we talk about it in the movie, so it's great. Women will love this movie because the heroines of this movie, the actual. Well, I don't want to give it too much away.
Give it away.
I'll let you know.
Women power. Let me just tell you. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I went to pick up a pizza for dinner. I don't go out very often, but we went to one of my favorite restaurants to go to, just pick up a delivery. And the husband and the wife who run the place, I said, we're going to interview you. And I said, she's from Infidel. And it's like, oh my God, I want to watch that movie. And they're not conservatives, okay? So they want to watch that movie.
Oh, wow. Okay, good.
Yeah, hopefully they'll go. It is time for my favorite part. This is the rapid question section. It is 2 minutes of rapid fire questions. Don't overthink it. If you want to think it and talk about it, that's fine. But you get 2 minutes, and it's sponsored by the Second Amendment. I love these questions. I think hopefully you'll like them. So you got the clock down, Manny? Okay. I may not have enough questions if you go really quickly, so take your time just a little bit. Ready? Favorite color, blue or red?
Red.
Harlingen's truest football rival, Harlingen South or San Benito?
San Benito.
Yeah, they're real. Favorite favorite Dinesh documentary. Favorite, which one?
Trump card.
Really? Okay, cool. Yay. More fun to hang out with, Senator Ted Cruz or talk radio host Michael Berry?
Close tie.
I was hoping you could have, pick one, but it's cool. Spicier food, Indian or Latin food?
What is that? I didn't hear the first.
Spicier food, Indian or Latin food?
Well, there's a restaurant in Houston that has Indian food, and it's amazing. So I'm going to say Indian.
Okay.
Tacos.
It's called Kieran's.
Karen, okay.
Yeah.
Best RGV weatherman when you were in the Valley, Larry James or Tim Smith?
Larry James.
Whataburger or In-N-Out?
Whataburger.
Good answer.
In-N-Out.
One American News or Fox?
What was that?
OAN? I think it's
OAN. Fox. Well, I watch Fox because we don't have OAN.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I'll have to look it up.
And this is with two-parter. Zach Cantu of 710 sponsored question number 1: cake or pie? Cake. His second question is left Twix or right Twix?
Right Twix.
What?
I know. Crazy. Zach Cantu is one of our super fans of our show, and he's also a talk radio host of 710 Talk Radio. The left Twix or the right Twix? That's what.
The right.
There you go. Good.
I like the right, so I'm just gonna say the right.
The right.
That's the correct one. Good answer. Yay. All right. And when are you all going to set up shop in Texas again? Also, save the Alamo.us. I don't know. You all are in Texas already, still, right?
Set up shop as in what does he mean by set up shop?
Yeah. What do you mean, Steve Roman or Roman? I think now we want to do and follow it up. And if you get a chance, Steve, and ask us that question again, we are going to watch together the trailer for your documentary that comes out October 9th. So Infidel comes out in the movies. I think down at the bottom, you'll see the crawl. So if you're here in the Valley, these are the theaters studios. Oh, okay. When are you going to set up shop or studios here in Texas? That I think Steve Roman's question.
Studios here in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, we have a virtual studio.
Okay.
So because we're in Texas, I guess we've set up shop in Texas.
There you go.
Right?
So there you go. Down at the bottom, the crawl. These are the places that we know for a fact will be showing Infidel this weekend. The first showings are all on Thursday night, which is tomorrow, even though it comes out Friday the 18th.
Right.
But that's around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and we have a really good school board candidate coming out tomorrow. So it's okay to watch it on Friday, so you can be able to watch our show on Thursday. But you can start watching it.
Oh, absolutely.
Excuse me, 7 o'clock in Brownsville, starting on Thursday, 7:05 in Harlingen at the Cinemark. So go out and watch Infidel. It looks great. But we're going to watch together the trailer for Trump Card. Do you want to help set up Trump Card, the documentary that comes out October 9th on video on demand? Debbie.
So this movie is basically anybody that's on the fence, like they're like, well, I don't know if I want to vote for Trump. I don't know. Okay, this movie, once you see it, you will have absolutely no doubt who you're going to vote for, and that is Donald J. Trump. We expose the left like never before. So there you go.
And feel free to comment during the clip if you need to.
Beautiful voice.
A house divided against itself cannot stand.
We are in a cold civil war. I see a threat to the very reason I came to America. Are we losing our country?
We must begin the work of dismantling the whole system of oppression.
Are we becoming the United States of socialism? Who's behind it?
Our country should be more fearful of white man.
They control the black community. They control the black vote.
The president spoke tonight as if
They don't want to hear the truth, the media. And I almost feel like they gloat when there's a mass shooting.
My hands are being put in handcuffs. My ankles are shacked.
period of 18 months, I went through 23 different audits or investigations.
29 FBI agents with assault weapons.
Why, it's evil.
Joe Biden offshored the corruption. He has become incredibly soft in his criticism of China.
Growth in China is overwhelmingly in our interest.
It is directly linked to the fact that his son was doing multiple deals with the Chinese government.
What is the fundamentalist and jihadi agenda for America?
The future of America has to be Muslim.
What you're saying is that there is serious Middle Eastern and specifically radical Islamic intervention into U.S. politics.
Exactly. I think it's more dangerous than the so-called Russian collusion.
They want to beat us into submission.
And before I could even catch my footing, then all the hits kept coming.
They want to make us into worms.
How many fingers am I holding up, Winston?
4.
Who will stop them?
That America will never be a socialist country.
Oh wow, that looks so
Guys,
Dinesh, how's it going? Dinesh, how are you doing? Welcome to our little podcast show.
Thank you. I'd like to make a very brief cameo appearance.
Welcome.
I'm gonna tell you that the first documentary my wife and I ever saw that she was willing to watch was your documentary. The first one you did, I think it was in 2008. I want to say 2008.
2012.
Well, there you go. That one. We went to the theater in Brownsville, and she hates politics. She's not like me at all, and she loved your movie. She came away ready to vote for who you wanted us to vote for. So thank you for coming on. Like, this is so awesome. At one point, we want you both to come out and talk about your all's lives together at some point. Is there anything you want to tell us about this movie?
Well, it's it's a movie loosely based on the themes in my book called United States of Socialism. And but a movie is very different than a book. A book is sort of an argument, and a movie is an emotional drama and a story. And this is a really fun movie to watch. It's we try to put a lot of entertainment value in our films, so that even though they have a lot of information, they're ultimately something that you can leave the when you finish watching. You're just going to have that great feeling that you have when you've seen a great movie.
So how are we going to be able to watch? I know, Myra, you're going to be in Florida to watch
Oh my
this.
gosh, yes, I'll be at the AmFest.
Right.
So if you need a volunteer, I'll be there volunteering.
Now, typically we release the movies in the theater, and we were looking forward to doing that. We had kind of planned to do it in August, but the problem was that the theaters are kind of spotty. Some are open, some are closed, and all of them have restrictions. So we decided just to go straight to video on demand. So October 9th, the movie will be available nationwide. You can, on any platform. You can watch on your computer, you can watch on your big screen TV, and it'll be Google, Apple, iTunes, Amazon Prime, Dish Network. There'll be other platforms too, but those for sure.
Yeah. So hopefully, Myra, you're going to have fun watching it.
Yes, I mean, I have to say that clip. I mean, it means like you. I became a citizen in January. I've been here my whole life, but I just became a citizen, and to see everything that's going on in our country and how we're fighting for it. And I have a lot of friends that are out there forming a patriot, defense against Antifa and Black Lives Matters. It's everything that's happening. You put it all in this little clip, and it's very emotional because those are the fights that are going on in our fight for our country. So thank you.
I do think that we're going to win in a big way, but I think we shouldn't be complacent. We should recognize there's a lot at stake and put all hands to the wheel. But we're going to be very happy on Election Day. So with that, I will say farewell.
Thank you
for all that you do.
Coming with us. You have an awesome lady wife. Right? She's awesome.
I know that.
So how are we going to turn the Valley red?
That's a good question. Myra's doing a lot of good stuff. Brandon's doing stuff in Clayburgh. Clayburgh is slowly turning red. But Myra, what are your plans, Myra, to make us red?
I've been working a lot with community engagement. I'm the South Texas Regional Director for Latinos for Trump, and I know Dinesh has worked with our president in Houston, Bianca Gracia. And what I do here is I'm busy every Saturday until Election Day. I go out, we have the Trump train, try to see if anybody needs to register to vote. From there, I go to our neighboring county, and we and the Cameron County Conservatives are helping also to register voters, keep the community excited. And having them get to meet their conservative candidates and letting them know all the numbers that President Trump has, what he's done for our country, and educate the Hispanic community, because that's one of the biggest things that we need to do is educate to vote for their values. And that's what we're trying to do from here until Election Day.
Exactly. Well, my grandmother, my mom's mom from the Valley, they were Democrat. And I remember when Ronald Reagan came to Harlingen in 1980, I got to see him, and I went home and I said, Grandma, I'm a Republican. And she was like, oh my goodness. And then I go, not only that, but when in 1984, when he runs again, I'm going to vote for him. And I did. So, that is actually what we need to do is we need to educate people in the Valley that the Republican Party stands for all our values. They stand for life. They stand for family, and they stand for the entrepreneurial spirit that we all have. That we don't want to get handouts. I mean, look at the Valley. Look at the situation in the Valley. For how many years has it been run by Democrats? And where are we in 2020? The Valley still looks exactly the same as it did when I was in high school. So
highest poverty rates in the state.
So it's crazy. We need to get true leadership, and we need to get people to love to want to go out there and build businesses and do for themselves.
Yes.
That's the kind of I think education that we need to provide to people in the Valley.
That's one of the things that my dad's going to be a new voter this year, and he thinks he's a Democrat. And one of the things that I told him is, when you came into this country, you didn't come with your hand extended out. You worked for what you had. He just retired last year at the age of 77. So
Wow.
you work, and you want to vote for the party that oppresses and tries to give handouts and have you dependent. So he's saying that he's going to vote for Trump, but I'm getting him there because it's all about teaching him what the Republican Party stands for, what the conservative, for the Constitution and the working class. It's not only for the wealthy, it is for the working class.
That's right. Dinesh has a great analogy. He says the Republican Party is the party of the ladder. The Democratic Party is the party of the rope. The party of the ladder, the Republican Party, has a ladder that provides you the opportunity to climb that ladder. If you fall, you get right back on. But the party of the rope holds that rope for you, and they can let it go anytime they want.
One of the things that I think is helping the conservative movement is pointing out the corruption that's happening in the Valley. The Valley is just filled with corruption. We talked a little bit about the movie idea that I had. And we got to talk about that at some point. The corruption in our school board in Brownsville, the corruption in Wesco, where a bunch of Democrats were, bribed for a water treatment plant. We had corruption in La Jolla. We've had corruption in Donna, where we're buying votes with cocaine or drugs, or Edinburgh city elections. These kinds of corruptions. And guess who's all involved? The Democrats. And it's unfortunate we need to, we don't have a strong Republican voice in the Valley. Hidalgo County, I will say, is slowly but surely growing. The fact that they were able to have,
I said Adrian is doing a great job over there.
The county chair is doing a really, really good job. I mean, they're former Democrats that have become Republicans, and they are fully on board, invested in making the party grow. Brandon, what are you doing in Clayburgh? I mean, Clayburgh is somewhat similar to the Valley, but not really. And what are your ideas for the Valley to make us grow?
Well, with Clayburgh, 10 years ago, all we had was like one Republican on the commissioner's court, and then our district attorney. Now we control the commissioner's court. We got, the county judge, the sheriff, a lot of the other elected officials. And we got there by just, knocking on doors, talking to people, showing people that, hey, Republicans were not the bad guys. We go to benefits. We help people out. Right now, these Trump trains are really important because with the news media, they want to tell you, oh, Trump's going to lose. He has no shot. He has no shot. They're trying to demoralize us. But when they see people, with 30 cars, 100 cars, whatever, just driving down the street with Trump flags, they smile. It energizes them, and, it gives them that hope. And like, hey, we are going to win this. We can do this. And, they're going to go to the polls. And I've never seen that kind of motivation for any political candidate, since I've been doing this.
And he looks young. He's involved in, maybe 10 years at least?
I started in 2009.
Yeah.
So been around a little while.
Feedback now. Why is it me?
It's
oh
me.
No! No, it cannot be me. Okay.
I think a lot of it that we're doing in Latinos for Trump is the community engagement. We started touring in an RV to the rural communities, trying to get the people excited, all the communities that have been ignored for a very long time.
Hi, Mom. My mom's watching.
Oh, nice.
Hi, Mom.
Still bad right now? Am I still talking over myself or no?
You're okay.
No, you're fine.
Okay, good. I wonder what happened. My thinking is you have Democrats have mimicked what we've been doing here. It's a bad. I'll ask that question in a second, Brad. We've been sort of making fun of Democrats and their small little caravans that they've had in Cameron County. They had a really small one. We counted 20 cars, and half of them were big trucks. So we make fun of them to say, you're only supposed to say climate change is real. Why do you have these big trucks? You are being hypocrites. And then they had a Trump train like the following week with like 60 cars, and they were more than half of them were big trucks. And I make fun of them because they need to like show what they really are. But no, Trump is bad. Trump is bad. I'm like, I didn't even vote for Trump 4 years ago, but I will vote for Trump this go around. And so I'm just so happy that you were able to come. We only want to keep you we want to keep you as long as you want to stay on, but we promised you only an hour, and it goes by so quickly. So hopefully you'll come back.
It does. Well, you'll have to have me back on. Maybe we can, Dinesh and I maybe can come back on before the election.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, so thank you for having me. Thank you for plugging the movies Infidel in theaters. We're so excited. I mean, this is just amazing. And then Trump Card, you know, look for it on iTunes, Dish, Amazon Prime, you know, all your basics, Google Play.
Is it going to move it to Netflix? You think?
Not Netflix, because with Netflix, you like, it's basically for free, right? So Netflix would have to buy it in order for that to happen. So this is basically on demand because we didn't go in the theater. So eventually a streamer might buy it, but Netflix may not. We don't, you know. Well,
I don't think they would. The Obamas are involved.
We don't want to be on Netflix.
I don't know.
Be Obama.
Well, these, you know, this is a question I ask everybody that comes on. This is what I call the Kim Wyatt question. She was a news director for Channel 4 for many years. Is there anything that we didn't talk about, that we didn't ask, that you want to talk about or say?
I think we covered everything. I think next time maybe we can do a little bit more just advice to the voter in the Valley, and what are some of the things that they should be doing and looking for in candidates. And you know, we love Dr. Ray. We're kind of advising him on a few things. We want him to do a video, you know, to show the poverty in the Valley. I think that would be really good. You know, like Kim Kasich, I think Klasick did.
Yeah.
Right? Remember, her video went viral because she was showing the reality, you know, of her town, right? And so I think Dr. Ray could do the same thing. He could show the Valley. He could show the boarded up buildings. He could show the dilapidated housing. He could show all of that and say, this is the real Valley. And this is what has been the Valley for 50 years of Democratic rule. You know, he could say something like that.
150, what, 150
well,
years?
Maybe, yeah, maybe longer than that.
Because we haven't never really been in a Republican circle, even after the Civil War. And Dr. Ray came on our show last week. We talked about it after the show. So I'm glad you mentioned it, Dr. Ray. It was not our fault. We did not unveil it. We're not going to tell you. We did. But yeah, we would love to have you on anytime you want to come on. Like I said, usually Sunday nights is when we do our Republican circle. We all just talk about issues. You're not doing anything Sunday night at 7:30 because none of us are watching football anymore. So sorry, guys, if you all were waiting for us to do the picks. Manny, we're not doing the picks anymore, right? That's what we've decided. Yeah, we're just not doing the picks anymore. We're not watching NFL. So much. Thank you so much, Debbie, for coming on. Do not go away. We're going to hold on. We wanted to do a couple of ads. One is for New York Deli. New York Deli suffered vandalism at the Harlingen New York Deli because they support the blue. They did a fundraiser for the two officers in McAllen that were brutally murdered. They have been the targets of massive left hysteria in the Valley, woke liberals who are just angry that New York Deli supports the blue. And so we do not know they were vandalized because of their leftism. It wouldn't shock me, but thugs threw a brick into their establishment in Harlingen, downtown Harlingen, at 1:30 in the morning on Sunday. So we're asking everybody and anybody that lives in the Valley to please support New York Deli, either the one in McAllen, the one in Wasaco, the one in Harlingen, or my favorite, the one in Brownsville. My favorite sandwich is the No. 7 Hot, which is half ham, half salami. It's delicious. It is the New York Deli sub. So please support them because they support our causes, our law enforcement. So thank you for that. And please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can get more subscribers. Please like and share this video, even if you're watching it after being live. But please watch us live at 7:30. We come on pretty much every day, except for Saturdays. And I think in October, Manny, we're going to do October, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm not going. This is the way of it. Erasmo, this is the Erasmo.
I think he's right.
the way of it.
Just to wear a tie and look halfway presentable.
Yeah, so Erasmo, and you know what? I'm gonna get you on Friday. Erasmo's gonna be our guest on Friday, and I'm gonna get mad at him now. I'm gonna ask you harder questions. He's running for school board in Brownsville, and he'll definitely want to talk to you all about the corruption in Brownsville. Anyway, God bless each and every one of you. This is RioPolitics. We do not make the news; we just help you see it. Good night. Good luck. God bless.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Bye.